Hello, welcome to the continuation of my course. Our topic for today is preparing your computer and writing your first Hello World program. Before we begin, we must install the JDK or Java Development Kit. Number 1. Download the Java Development Kit from this URL. So let's check that URL. Select Java 8 as it is still the most widely supported version available, x64, and MSI installer if applicable. This one. Now, how do we know if our computer is running on x64 or x32? Just open your Windows Explorer, right click on this PC or my computer. I guess if you are using Windows version less than 10, then you should have my computer here, and then click or select the properties, and you should see here the system type, 64-bit operating system, x64 base processor. Therefore, for this computer, I need to download the MSI x64 version of the installer, which I already did earlier. Let's check the installer folder and then Java. So I have here the OpenJDK installer for version 1.8. I normally install JDK on C Java JDK version. This is for easier navigation in case you wanted to execute some commands or do something with the JDK. You have a shorter and no space URI versus the one which is by default will be installed in the C program files. So let's look at this URL. These are the available Java versions. Why did I install the version 8? Because it's an LTS, or if you decide to if you want to try the new features, then you can try the version 11 since it's also an LTS. LTS means it has a long-term support compared to this one. So meaning most of the enterprise corporate company will use and adopt these versions. Because right now, Java 8 from Oracle is already commercialized, meaning it's not free. That's why we are using the OpenJDK version packaged by Red Hat. And then we should be able to install Java in C Java JDK and 1.8. So I have two versions. I have version 1.8 and I have OpenJDK version 11, because this version 1.8 was when Oracle hasn't licensed the 1.8 version yet. So in your case, you should have an OpenJDK 1.8 here. And then add Java into your user environment path. Make sure that there is no other entry of Java path in both your user and system path. How do we go navigate to the user environment path? The same with the property. We need to open a Windows Explorer. Then right click on my computer when you are using a version of Windows less than 10. If you have a Windows version 10, then you should have this kind of interface. So right click on this PC and again select properties. From properties, click the advanced system settings, and from here click the environment variables under the advanced tab. Hit the environment variables, and here we have the user variables and the system variables. The difference is that if you have a multi-users running or logging to this computer, then these variables will only be set for user Czetsuya. Now, if you want it to be set in all the users, then you should set it here. In my case, I only want to set it in my user. That's why I have here the Java home. In case you don't have the Java home yet, you can create a new entry by clicking the new and add the Java home as the variable name, and in the variable value, enter the URI where you installed the Java or the JDK, which is in my case, it's in C Java JDK 1.8. In case you install the OpenJDK 1.8 version, then you have something similar with OpenJDK 1.8 here. So we have the Java home, and now we set the path by editing this path variable. Now we have two path variables. Now one is from the user variable and the other one is from system variables. This one. So we will add it here. Now this is already preset. There are other various path values set in the path variable. Now let's edit this one and let's add the Java home bin, because we want the executable files to be in our execution path of the Windows machine. Now this is the 1.8 and this is the binaries or the executable, so we need to set it in the path, and that's what we're doing here. Remember, Java home is pointing to C Java JDK 1.8, and to use the Java home variable, we need to prefix and suffix it with %, then %, Java home, %, /bin or the binary. Now you need to check that you don't have any other instance of Java here. In case, for example, you install the JDK, it automatically adds the OpenJDK path in here. So in case you don't want that, you can remove the path and add it in your user variable. In your user variable path. And to check that you have correctly set the path, you can run the terminal. Again, to do that, just right click on your or just press the shortcut key Windows R, which is the run, and then enter command, or press the Windows key and then type command. It should filter the command prompt and then click it. So now this is the command prompt terminal. We can type Java version, and so it runs Java version 1.8, and then we also need to check the Java version, and we have the same version. This is very important. Please don't forget this, especially when you are installing multiple version of JDK. Sometimes you have a different version that is being triggered by the Java, and a different version for Java. That is sometimes a source of problem. So make sure that you have the same version. Remember, you can run or you can install multiple versions of Java, especially when you are developing multiple projects that need different versions. You can do that, but you need to set the correct path, which is what we did earlier in the environment variable section. So if you want a different version of Java in your environment, just set this or just point this variable to where you install .jdk. And I think that is step 5. Now let's go to the next one. I think we also already discussed this. Set the Java in user's environment path. And going on to the next one, downloading and installing Eclipse. Remember, in our lesson 1, Eclipse is my choice of IDE because first, it's free, and it has plugins freely available that can help us in our development. And then configure the installed JRE or Java runtime environment inside Eclipse. So to download Eclipse, right click on this URL and it will redirect you to the download link. Download again. You must download the version that match your machine. This one automatically checks my system version, which is 64-bit. That's why it offers the 64-bit download, which I already did again earlier. So I have the Eclipse Win64 installer version. So after you download that, just right click or run the installer. This one is just 51.9 megabytes because it will connect to the internet and download the plugins that will match the Eclipse version that you want to install on your machine. Here we can see that there are various versions of Eclipse. From the installer, it shows us a version for Java developers, a version for enterprise Java developers, for C++, PHP. So in case you are programming in other language like PHP, you can still use Eclipse. So in my case, I already installed the enterprise Java developers because I mostly develop backend applications, which should look like this. Actually, no, it should look, the default theme is white. Now I have modified my version to use the Darkula theme. I will just add a link in the description box of this video so you can see how I modified my Eclipse to look like this. Well, in case you prefer the light version, that is the default there. Then there's no need to change. Alright, let's continue by creating our first Hello World project. Inside Eclipse, select File, New Project. In the project name field, enter Hello World. Number 3, select Java JDK 1.8 in Use a Project Specific JRE and click Finish. Now let's try that. There are two ways to do that. Number 1 is by using the file menu, File, New, Java Project, or right click on the Package Explorer, then New Project, Java Project, and then enter Hello World. Let's remove the space because it will not. Yeah, it allows us. So let's just remove this space. Hello World, and use a project specific JRE. But actually, before we do this, let's set the JRE first because sometimes your Eclipse does not pick up the default JRE. So to set the default JRE or to link the JRE to your Eclipse, right click on Window, Preferences, and then look for the Java menu, install JREs, and add. Click Add. Standard VM, and then look for the directory where you installed the JDK, which is this one, which I already configured. That's why it throws the error, the JRE name is already in use. And you need to match this. Once you have added it, you need to match it to the execution environment. So, assuming you already added the Java or JRE 1.8, go to the execution environments. But before that, hit apply first and then execution environments. And then select the Java SE 1.8 and select the 1.8, which is the perfect match. So that is very helpful. And click apply and close. Now we know that we have Java version 1.8 integrated or linked into our Eclipse. Now we can create our project. Again, right click, new project, and type hello world. Under the use a project specific JRE, we can select 1.8, and then here, so under project layout, just don't no need to change these values, these selections. And then under the working sets, we can create a new working set, which is just a grouping. So now we have the course working set, and then click next, and finally finish. The working set is this one. So if we click this arrow down, we can see here that I have several working sets, course and Java main course. Select working set, so I can choose other working sets here, or maybe create a new working set. But for now, I'm using the course working set. Now we have the Hello World project from the new Java project menu. Next is creating our first Hello World project in Maven. This is what I will recommend because it's very easy to add a new dependency and it's portable. So to do that, we need to install, or inside Eclipse, select File, New, Other. In the Select Wizard panel, Wizards filter, enter Maven. So let's do that. Again, right click or File, New, Other. This is the select a Wizards filter, select or enter Maven. And then select the Maven project. Click next. Click use default workspace location or uncheck it to select a folder where you want the project to be created. This one will be created under the C project workspace Broodcamp. Then you can also create and select a working set. For this example, I'm selecting the course working set. Then click next. In the new Maven project panel, catalog selection, select Maven Central. So this one. And you should have the following rows. Now select the row with group ID org.apache.maven.archetypes and artifact ID equals Maven archetype quick start. Let's try that. Maven archetype. Org.apache Maven archetype quick start. This one. org.apache.maven.archetypes and the Maven-archetype-quick start. These archetypes will create a project. Actually, these archetypes are just templates, so it will create a Maven quick start project for our example. Hit next and then enter the following details. In the group ID, com.broodcamp, artifact ID is hello world 2. In the package is com.czetsuya. Let's say czetsuyatech.com. So let's change the group ID to com.czetsuyatech. What is group ID? Normally, it's the domain name of your website, or it's actually a unique identifier of your organization. In this case, Czetsuya Tech, com.czetsuyatech doesn't really exist, but it's the ID that I'm using in Facebook, so I'm using it here. And then normally the package match the group ID, so I have com.czetsuyatech. No, not com. Hello. And then artifact ID is the name of your artifact or project. In this case, let's just name it Hello World 2. Well, normally when we are using a Maven or when we are creating a Maven project, I think the standard is use lowercase artifact ID. And that's what we're doing here. Then finally click finish. And we have the project that we created from the new Java project template. And this one is from Maven. Now this is using the JRE system library Java 1.7 because that's the default from the archetype. And we can change that here to 1.8, 1.8. And then we need to change this JRE system library because remember we are using the version 1.8. So to change that, right click on the JRE system library, then select build path and configure build path. In the libraries, select the JRE system library and edit. And select the alternate JRE 1.8, which is what we have in our installed JRE. Okay, 1.8. Finish and apply and close. Now we have JRE system library version 1.8 for the Hello World project. Now let's try compiling, running, and debugging. We will do this exercise in the Maven project because I really prepare the Maven version versus the Java project template that we have or that we used earlier from Eclipse. Why did I said? Remember I said that the project created from using Maven is portable because it has this pom.xml. And if you add a dependency in the future project, I will show how this works. But for now, the important part is that you have pom.xml. And if in case you are using other Java libraries created by other developers, for example, from Apache Foundations, you will add those dependencies here, not the jar. Because normally in school, I think what's being taught is you add the dependency by using or by right-clicking on the project and then under build path, you add the libraries, the jar. But that is portable, but that makes the project path, meaning you have to package all the jar files. In the Maven project version, there is no need to copy the jar files. All you need to copy is the POM file and the source. So if we will look at the project that was created, so C project, I think it's under workspace, rootcamp, hello world 2. In case you wanted to share this project, all you need to copy is the source and the POM file in the minimum. So you don't need to copy the project class path target and the settings. And then you can import. Right click, import, and import an existing Maven projects. Just point that to where your project is residing and it will automatically create this project class path target settings folder for you. Alright, now first let's try running this application. What it does is it prints a hello world. So to run that, there are several ways to run this application. Number one is select the project and then in the menu of Eclipse, select run and run as, select Java application. And as you can see, there is also a shortcut. So remember this shortcut, Alt Shift plus XJ. So run the Java application and then select the app. So where did this app class came from? It was from the template, the Maven template, Maven project template that we have selected earlier, which is the Maven QuickType. Yeah, I think it's Maven QuickType Archetype, Maven Archetype QuickType or something like that. Yeah, it's Maven-archetype-quick start. So that is where the app class comes from. Now again, let's try running this one. Run Java application, and then it prints the hello world. So congratulations, you have your first program created in Java. Now there is another way to run the application by right-clicking the project, select Run As, and select Java application. So instead of clicking the menu from the top panel, so we will right-click on the project, and then we will have the same menu from the Run menu above, and then Run As, and select Java application, and again select app, which is this class app.java, and it should print hello world. And yeah, I think that's it. It prints the hello world. And now I will teach you how to debug. To debug, you can right click on this side of the panel and then toggle breakpoint, or the shortcut is Ctrl-Shift-B. I suggest that you take a look on each of the menu and get to know the shortcuts that you think will be useful for you. Normally, they are the ones that you will use when debugging. So first is the shortcut for breakpoint, Ctrl-Shift-B. As you can see, there's a blue circle icon that is added here, meaning it's a breakpoint. Now, if we run the application using Java application, it will not stop. So there is no break. We need to run as a debug as. So run debug as Java application. So it will switch the perspective into debug mode. Just remember my decision and switch. And you can move this panel in case you don't want this configuration. I have a specific configuration I normally use. Just in case you are curious, I normally use the debug perspective because I'm normally debugging. So similar to this one, I have my product explorer here, breakpoints, and then I have two monitors, and in the other monitors I have the console where the log is being written, so it's easier to debug. Now in this case, as you can see, the application ran, but it is stopped in this part. It's actually highlighted. Again, the application ran and it stopped in this part, so the application is not yet terminated. I will show you the console log, and here there is no log that writes the hello world yet because we are not yet done running the application. Now, what do we need to do for the debugging to continue? The clue is under the run menu. So here we have the step into, step over, step into selection. Normally we will use the step over or F6. And that will run, or that will print the hello world, and we're done. So again, click on the step over, and yeah, so the application terminated. And if you will notice these menus or these icons, these are similar to the run menu here. This is the run up. This is populated as you run your application from here. So first you will run your application here, and then on the second run you can use the shortcut in this drop down. So we have the up to, I think it's up, or I think that's not the one because I have several other builds. So yeah, it's the app 2. And it prints the hello world. And for the debug, this beetle-like icon is a debug. So it's like a bug. And then click the drop down and select the app 2. So it will stop in this debug, in this toggle, in this breakpoint. And then you can press F6 for it to continue. So as you can see, there's still a highlight. So the application does not terminate yet until you press again F6 or F8 for it to continue, resume. And as you can see here, there is a red flag here. It signals that the application is still running. So if I press F8, the application will resume and the terminate button will be disabled. Now let's try that again. Debug mode, the application or the debug will stop here. So in case you wanted to stop debugging, you can press this terminate button. And it will not print the hello world. And I think that's the end for this lecture. Again, thank you for watching. If you learned something, please do like my video and subscribe to my channel so that when I upload the next one, then you will get notified and be the first one to watch. I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching and goodbye.